Hello and welcome to part 1 of the Year 1 writing video. Hopefully it will help you to understand how writing develops across Year 1. It's important to remember that children develop at different rates. So many children starting Year 1 can already write their name. Maybe they can write a simple sentence. But maybe your child started Year 1, and lots of children do start this way, with this kind of level of writing. So they're aware that words start with a sound. So dog starts with a D and flower starts with a F. They can write some different letters, perhaps not always the right way round, but they're having a good go. And they can draw a picture and maybe write a little label. I think I can see the word chop in that one there. Maybe they're a little bit further on and they understand how to write a little caption for a picture. So this one says my pet dog, and it shows me that the child understands about leaving a finger space after their words to help the reader to read their ideas easily. This next one is actually the beginning of a really good sentence. I play on the PlayStation. So it shows me that the writer again understands finger spaces. They've had a very good try at spelling PlayStation. There isn't a full stop here yet, and I can see some capital letters mixed in where they shouldn't be, in the middle of a word or in the middle of the sentence, like that capital T on the word the. And if we move here, we can read, on Saturday I went to the Metrodome. I swam and played with Zach. I went on the slide. So that shows us that this child has had some good ideas and put them in an order. So they've sequenced them to give us some information. And then at the bottom, this piece here shows us that the child is beginning to change their handwriting style. So this child is learning how to write in a precursive style. That's important in Year 1 because in Year 2, your child will begin to join up their handwriting. So this child's written first, we went coach and we watched a film. Next, we touched a snake and a bearded dragon. And you can see that they've put a full stop after the first sentence. They started with a capital letter, and they started with another capital letter for their second sentence. So again, some lovely writing from all of those children at different stages of development. It's important to think about what your child can already do, and you know your child very well. So maybe your child still needs some help to learn those initial letter sounds, the sounds of the alphabet, those 26 letters. And when your child's learning to write, it's important that they learn the sound. They will learn the letter name as well later on in Year 1, but the letter sound is really important. So you know how we say in school, we say A, B, K, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. They might be able to write their name. Maybe they've been practicing in reception class or with you at home, and maybe they can even write it with a capital letter and all the right spellings. They might be able to write some of their family names as well, maybe their brother's name or sister's name. They might be able to write mum or dad or nanny. Your child might also be good at Fred talking. That's when we sound out a word, so cat, k, at. So your child might be able to hear the 3 sounds in that word and write them down on paper. Pen, p, e, n. Some words have got two sounds, so up has only got two. We say two fret fingers, two fret sounds, up. And maybe your child already knows that actually more than one letter sometimes say just one sound, like sh in shop, or ch at the end of rich, or f at the end of with, a in play, or e in see. At school, we follow the Read, Write, Ink scheme, and this scheme helps the children to learn to recognise letters and also helps them to learn how to write those letters. So on this page, you can see that the letters of the alphabet aren't in an alphabetical order, they're in a different order. The children learn those sounds this way because if you look at the top line there of sounds, there are so many words a child can build and blend together to read and then to segment, to break up, to spell. Words like sad, mad, sat, sit, in, it, tin, pin, at. There's so many. And you can see the second line as well, adding even more sounds so the child can spell even more words. And then the last line, all of them very important, but these last few letters here, a child really won't need that often in their spelling at this stage. Sometimes children learn to spell words by hearing words that sound the same and can rhyme. So words like this, in the blue flower, you've got words that rhyme with an. So the initial sound, the onset of the word is different for each of the petals. Van, pan, man, fan, gran, tan. Or the sound, egg, peg, keg, beg, meg, egg, leg. Or the sound, im, swim, grim, him, dim, slim, brim. Again, for each of those sounds, so for example, the word slim, the child is hearing the word slim, thinking of the sounds and writing it down. So in that particular word, there are 4 sounds the child will need to write down. And actually, in that word, there are 4 letters as well. In this word, here in the ut flower, the word shut, let's hear those sounds. Sh, ut. There are only 3 sounds the child can hear and 3 sounds that the child needs to put down on paper. And the child may understand that sh actually needs 2 letters written side by side to make that one sound. Sh, ut, shut. And then there's the o. This one is og. Dog, log, cog, jog, fog, frog. There's lots and lots of different words you can make up with your child to read and then to spell. Another way of helping your child is this. We call it the look, say, cover, write and check method. So the child looks at a word. If they need a little picture to help, that's okay. So here's a picture of somebody who's very sad. You can help them if they can't read that word. Sad. Then if you cover it up and they've said the word, can they have a try at spelling it? Sad. Sad. Now I'm just going to pretend that I've written that, the child's written that. Let's go back and check. Ooh, nearly, but not quite. We should have that, shouldn't we? Sad. Okay, I'll try again. I'll cover it up and I'll try again. And you can see that I've actually written the d the wrong way round, which a lot of children do. Let's go back and check. Ooh, not quite. I'll try once more. So your child can keep trying. A, D, that dinosaur. Round, up and down to his feet. Yes, let's have a check. Yes, we've got it right. So you can help your child that way, maybe making a little grid at home or getting them to try just on a little strip of paper. All of these words had an A sound in the middle, so the middle sound, the middle phoneme was A. You might want to concentrate on words that have got an E in the middle of them, like these words, net, peg, red, pet, ben, pointing out that actually a name needs a capital letter. Or maybe the words are a little bit more tricky and they haven't just got 3 sounds, they might have 4. St, e, or h, e, l. You might want to concentrate on words with I in them. Jim, another name, capital letter. Lift, lift, or the word trip, ip. You might want to have a few minutes looking at words with O in the middle of them, or O as one of the sounds in the middle of the word. When a child's getting more confident writing simple words themselves, they start to write little captions and little labels for pictures that they've either cut out and stuck in their book or they've drawn themselves. So here you can see 3 words. It's not a sentence, but it's a little phrase that gives meaning to the picture. A, red, bag. And we try to encourage the child with their finger to put their finger in between the words. So they write A, they put a little finger down, and then they write the word red, they put their finger down and write the word bag. And similarly in the next little phrase, the next caption, a cat in a box. See if your child can have a go at writing that caption. If not, help them, show them how to write it and they can copy it. Or maybe they can write 1 or 2 sounds to help you. Other ways of starting sentences with children might be using the word I, and your child has to learn that the word I, that means them, I, always is a capital letter. It's instead of their name, and names need capital letters, so I needs a capital letter. They could say I can run. They could write I can hop, I can jump. They might write I am 6, I am in Hull class or Nottingham class. I like my dog. They might write sentences beginning with these sentence starters. So the and then whatever. The dog, and go on to tell me about it. The dog is big. The dog is bad. The dog is wet. Or maybe this, it was Sunday. It was sunny. Or the word my is a good way to start a sentence. My mum is lovely. My mum is kind. And again, don't worry too much about longer spellings if the child's having a good go at using their thread fingers and sounding out those words, hearing the sounds within the word to have a go at spelling them. So a child's got to learn that actually writing's a bit tricky. Lots of things have to go together for a sentence to make sense. We need a capital letter at the beginning of a sentence. We need finger spaces. We need a full stop, or if it's a question, we need a question mark in year 1. Or if it's an exclamation, the child might finish their sentence with an exclamation mark. When they've written it, they've got to read it to make sure it makes sense. They might have missed out a word, or they might have realised that they've drawn a letter the wrong way round. You might get something like this. Your child might try to spell one on, because that's thread fingers and that's how it sounds. But we know that English spellings are really tricky and difficult. One day it was hot. Maybe if you wanted them to write this, or they wanted to write, my mum got some whatever, sweets, my mum got some milk, they might write it like this, my, because actually they're learning that this says I, if you remember. So maybe they're just using their brain to think I, and they're writing it like this. So it's so tricky, it's so hard until the child really gets going in their writing. My mum got some, that's one way of spelling some, but it's not the way actually that we want in this sentence. So there are some words in year 1 that your child will just have to learn how to spell because they are tricky to sound out and Fred talk. They don't really make any sense. Some of them on this chart I think do make sense, and actually, like put, for me, I can sound that out and write it p-ut, and push, p-ush. But some words are more tricky. So for example, that word was that we had on the last slide, that word my that we had on the last slide, and that word some on the last slide. So you can see why it's important that you help your child to learn these common exception words. So by the end of year 1, they should be able to read all of these words and spell them. At school, we also learn about letters that sit next to each other because they're special friends. So we say special friend A. So that A and a Y together makes the sound A in English. So these letters make just one sound. We've got A, E, I, O, U or O, A, O, ow, oi. And then we've got these sounds. Sometimes there's a different way in English of writing the same sound. So here the child's learnt E, but here is a different kind of E for a cup of tea or teacher. E, oi, A with a missing letter here for cake, for example. I, for example, time. O, for example, phone. U, for example, huge. Or air, ow. So here it was O. Now here's a different sound with those letters. Ow, A, O, U, ire, ear, and another way to say the sound O. Thank you for your time. Please take a few minutes to complete our feedback form by following the link in the details attached with the video. See you soon for part 2.